Today I want to share a story written by Colette Bugeaud. In it, she discusses her childhood, and she admits that the one thing her family would all agree upon is the fact that she was easily frightened. In her story, she questions what was she really frightened of, and where did her fear come from. She goes on to say not only what has helped her, but how she knows she's improved. So this is Colette's story. It's called Fear. Growing up, I can remember my mother tucking us in bed, and I mean literally tucking us in. She would fold the corners of the sheets and blankets under the mattress so tight that we could barely move our tiny little legs and squiggly little toes. I don't know if she did this to prevent us from falling out of bed or to save herself some work in the morning, but our beds were hardly wrinkled when we woke up. As she tucked us in, she would always add, "Don't let your feet stick out, or the bugs will eat your toes." I have many other memories where I was scared as a little girl. Once when my parents were having a party, the music was very loud, and it must have been quite late. I was probably around 4 or 5 years old, when suddenly the characters on my curtains started to speak to me. I was so scared. I wanted to scream, but nothing would come out. I was paralyzed with fear. I tried not breathing, hoping they wouldn't see me. Was it real? As a 5-year-old, it was as real can be. By 5 years old, I was afraid of bed bugs, afraid of my curtains, and afraid of the dark. At 9 years old, my parents divorced. My mom, my siblings, and I moved into a 2-story apartment. I don't know if it was a lack of cartoons on television or an interest in scary movies, but my mother let us watch a scary movie. It was called something like People Under the Stairs. Basically, it was about dark little monsters living under the stairs that would snatch people going up the stairs and make them disappear forever. Now I was afraid to go up the stairs. I would actually make a run for it and hope that nothing would grab me. My heart would race with me every time. Another scary time in my life was when I was 12 years old. We moved into a man's deceased grandfather's old house in Dalhousie, New Brunswick. The first night in the house, Mom worked until 2 a.m. unpacking and displaying her knickknacks on the living room shelves. Well, the next morning, to her surprise, all the items were found neatly set on the living room carpet. My mom asked if either one of us had come down after she'd gone to bed, but we both said no. That's when I started to suspect we had a ghost. My sister and I shared a room with bunk beds. Of course, I chose the top bunk. I didn't tell my sister until we were older. The reason I chose the top bunk was if a killer came, he'd get her first. Now, even though I felt I had the best sleeping arrangements, it didn't stop me from whining late at night. "Are you sleeping? Can I sleep with you? I'm scared." And in a grouchy voice, she'd reply, "I'm trying to get some sleep here." But eventually, she would give up, and I would crawl down beside her and hug the wall all night so I wouldn't take up too much room. In that period of my life, I was afraid of ghosts and killers. Today, that house has been demolished. The lot has been empty for at least 10 years now. I still wonder to this day if the next few renters or buyers also had trouble with ghosts and decided to condemn it. Nevertheless, I've been working on controlling my fear. What has helped me? I no longer watch movies that have too much violence and guns, movies with serial killers, or scary movies. I no longer read books by Stephen King, or read horrific books like Charles Manson. I no longer watch the TV show The Most Wanted. I focus on God and His presence. I trust in His protection. I've realized that I'm not that special. A killer is not really after me. I know I've improved because I don't run up the stairs expecting someone to grab my legs and pull me down into the abyss. I can walk in a dark house, and I no longer have to check the closets for killers. I am no longer afraid of ghosts, even if I believe they do exist, and if I wake up in the middle of the night hearing something, I investigate in the dark instead of staying paralyzed in bed. I plan to continue to face my fears, and I look forward to sharing new chapters of growth with you in the future. Don't be afraid to address your fears. Remember what Scrooge said. It could just be a bit of undigested beef. Then again, Marley's ghost did warn him about the 3 spirits to come. The only spirit that concerns me today is the Holy Spirit. Let him be your guide. This is Linda Lewis, and I once heard it said that fear is never a reason for quitting. It's only an excuse.